So you want to learn how to use the Symmetry tool, or otherwise known as the mirror tool in Procreate. I'm going to show you how you can create some of these fun designs that you might have seen on TikTok or Instagram. So let's get started first of all with a blank canvas. So I've got my blank canvas, and the first thing you want to do is turn on the drawing guide. So all you have to do is on your canvas, just go to your Actions tab, and then from there you can go to Canvas, and then we want to turn this one on here because your mirror tools, or your Symmetry tools as they're better known as, are in the drawing guide section. So if we turn this on, we then get the option to edit the drawing guide. And by default, the drawing guide is simply just a grid. They are just ways to assist your drawing experience. Now we're going to go to this option here. We're going to go to the option of symmetry. And by default, it will give me a nice vertical line down the middle. And you're probably wondering what that is. Well, that is the separation line between one side and the other of what will be reflected in your work. Now, if I just hit done to start with, we've got a vertical mirror line down the middle. So we've got the symmetry tool in play. If we take a look at our layer now, it now says the word assisted. Notice if I create a new layer, it doesn't say assisted. So what this means is that this layer is going to use the symmetry line down the middle, but this one isn't. So if you want to turn it on or off, you simply tap on a layer and go to the option of drawing assist here, and it's going to use the drawing assist that you've got in play. So if I go to this empty layer first of all, and I start drawing, nothing happens. And this is the one that is not drawing assisted. But if I go to my layers and I go to the one that now says assisted underneath, I can now go ahead and start in the middle, and it will reflect my work perfectly on the other side, and it will continue to do so with the vertical line down the middle. Let's undo that though, and then go back up to our actions and edit the drawing guide again, because we have this option down here for options. And if we tap on options, you get a couple of different variations of it. So if we switch it to horizontal now and hit done at the top, you can now see that the line is now flipped, and then what I draw on the top is reflected on the bottom. So if I wanted to draw a heart again, it wouldn't work quite so much unless I tipped my pen on its side like this. Now, we can go ahead and go back up to our actions again, edit the drawing guide once more, and we've got two more to look at. We've got the option of quadrant. Now, quadrant is awesome because it utilizes the vertical and the horizontal in one, and hit done. And then what we do in one of these quadrants is reflected in the others. So if I go ahead and just draw in a line and then a couple of dots, for example, you can see how it just starts to reflect it in each one of the quadrants. So what you want to look for is when you get to this line here, it's going to reflect it here, but also down here as well. So we're utilizing both. And let's undo all of that as well and go back once more. We can edit it once more to options and radial, which then is going to add in some diagonal lines in there as well. So when we hit done, we've now got even more mirrors of reflection. So you can go ahead and just draw in one slice here like a pizza, and then what you draw on one slice is going to be on the others, which is awesome. What we can then do is if we clear that and we go up to our actions once more, there is a couple of other things to bear in mind. If we go to symmetry and we go to options, you have this option here. It's called rotational symmetry. So for example, if I turn that on now, what happens is if I hit done, if I draw something here, it's not going to mirror it to this line. So if I was to draw here, it would reflect it here. But notice how if I draw here now, it's reflecting it in the other ones in the same position that it is within this pizza slice. So if I draw one here, you can see it reflects it into the next pizza slice, as I mentioned. So you can't anymore draw a heart, for example, because the line is now being reflected on the opposite side. So if you turn that off, we go up to our adjustments, we go to edit the drawing guide, and we go to options and turn off rotational symmetry and hit done. If I undo that line now, I can go ahead and draw in a heart, for example, on the line. On either line, it's reflected. For example, if I wanted to draw the front of a house, I could draw a line across here, and then I can draw a line up here, and continue just to draw in different lines, and it's reflected perfectly on the opposite side. That way I can make sure that my house that I'm drawing here is nice and symmetrical, and I can get right up to that middle line, and then it is making sure that I've not made one side too lopsided or the roof is going to look slightly skewed. So things such as objects that are perfectly symmetrical will always be utilized with the drawing assist. So you'll notice now I've changed my grid to the radial because there's a really fun effect that you can create. For example, if we go ahead now and we simply just cover our screen using something like the soft airbrush, and we cover our screen in lots and lots of colors and just mess around with it, chuck in as much color as you want, and just keep going until you fill the entirety of this screen. Once we've filled in the whole of the screen, we can just go up to our adjustments, go to gauge and blur, and just swipe from left to right on the screen, just to blur all the colors together, just to get a nice sort of gradient of color. So I'm just going to go up to 10%, which you can see here at the top, tap on the screen, and then I can go ahead and create a new layer. I can tap on this layer. I can make sure we turn on the drawing assist. So it now says assisted, so it's going to use the guide. And then if we go to our colors and we double tap at the bottom of the disk to select black and we drag it onto the screen, it's now completely disappeared. Now, one thing to also note before we carry on is if you go up to your actions and you go ahead and edit the drawing guide, take a look at this bar at the top here. You can see there's a little dot here in the black section, but if I drag along this line, I can change the color of the drawing guide. And now I've dragged it all the way towards the white. These lines now are more visible on the screen, so if I hit done, I can now see it against my black background. So you may need to change your guidelines depending on what type of canvas you're working with, a dark one or a light one. And if I go to my eraser, tap on my eraser, I'm just going to use something simple like calligraphy, and I'll go ahead and I'll use the script brush. We can create some really fun patterns in here, and it's going to just erase from this layer, and then all we're going to see is the layer that's underneath, and you can create these really cool, quite trippy looking designs and just have fun creating whatever design you want. Keep an eye on your mirror lines, and you can just create some fun patterns, and then you can get in there and you can just add in tons and tons of little lines here and there just to have some fun with it and just create whatever fun little design that you like, and you can just keep going. So hopefully that helped you with understanding the mirror tool. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments down below. I'll be happy to help. Have some fun creating some sort of mirrored designs, and let me know what other use cases you would use it for. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.